quickly introducing myself. My name is Alex. I'm a product marketing lead at Hostaway. Super excited to invite you to today's webinar. It's going to be a bit different than usual, a bit more informal. The world of vacation rentals is obviously evolving rapidly, with artificial intelligence playing a huge role in shaping how we manage properties. So we invited a panel of experts to help answer some questions on how AI is impacting the short-term rental space. So to introduce the panelists, two familiar faces. We have Marcus, the founder, CEO of Hostaway. We have Maria, who is our VP of product and is leading the charge in terms of how we think about AI and the roadmap and the features we're going to launch that we feel will have an high impact on hosts like yourself. And we're also excited that Michael Chang has joined us today. If you don't know Michael already, he's a New York-based entrepreneur and real estate investor and the co-founder of TrustBNB Vacation Rentals and TrustBNB Capital. Leaving his investment banking career behind, he's built a portfolio of 39 short-term rental properties in markets like Pennsylvania and the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. And he now teaches other short-term rental operators how to optimize and grow their portfolio and host the podcast STR Like the Best, where he interviews other top STR operators and investors in the short-term rental space. And he's joining us from New York today. So welcome, everyone. And we'll go to the next slide and get started. So question number one, can you share examples of how AI has improved the lives of short-term rental operators through efficiency, revenue, guest experience, or otherwise? And maybe we'll start with Marcus.
All right. Hi, everyone, especially Pascal and Louis. Nice to see you on again. We're going to split here with Maria, so she takes more on the product side, and I'll talk about the industry overall. AI has really been a massive help overall in the short-term rental space for those who know how to utilize this. If you don't know, then this is the webinar to join and listen in. It will also be recorded for later. Even before AI became a big boom, there was actually machine learning involved in our space in the form of dynamic pricing, which has been around for about 10 years. It's an algorithm that learns based on scientific experiments. A very simple experiment is someone going to book the place at this price? And they test that, and then they adjust the algorithm. So AI has already impacted this space massively. Of course, now with messaging, description, analyzing reviews, various data comparison, it's made a lot of things easier, but it's also made it harder because if everyone else uses these tools, that means your descriptions need to be perfect. Your pictures need to be perfect because that's what everyone else can provide, even though they probably don't have the budget to do so. They can just use AI to improve images. So it's sort of a catch-22 where you just have to stay up to date with what other people are doing. But I say these are the big areas where things have changed.
So maybe if I can segue there a little bit, Alex put it very well, Marcus put it excellently, that AI is here already. Well, it's the present. It's just not the future anymore, right? It's the present. And these three things that we see here for me are the pillars. And basically, I took them as the pillars on which we are basing our product strategy around AI, right? So it's efficiency, it's adding revenue for our customers, it's improving the guest experience. So on Hostaway, for those of you actually that have been listening to us in our webinars and follow on our product updates, you know that we are saving maybe around 150 hours a month on having to write messages, right? Using our AI-powered message automations. Also, our customers are using the AI bot that helps them create basically better communication experiences with their guests. It's based on their tone. It's based on significant configurations that they can do to make sure that it sounds like they want the bot to sound, but at the same time, hopefully, saving them a lot of time doing so. We are seeing that around 75% of our customers convert on the suggestions that the AI bot are giving them on the guest experience, on the guest communication. So that actually gives us a lot of hope and a good footing to continue improving these AI bots. We will see more on that in the future this year, so keep an eye on that. On the revenue side of things, Marcus mentioned dynamic pricing. That's obviously another type of AI. It's machine learning. It's based on understanding millions of many different data points based on the listings, on the market, on the marketing, on your competition, and provide those pricing recommendations that you can take and you can tweak to your the best way you can to ensure that at the end your listings get bookings, get reservations, and you maximize occupancy. Also, we recently actually added there a little bit more on top of the AI, which is the gap nights functionality. So now you can the AI actually the algorithm is looking at as well at the days that you have free in between reservations, so you can upsell them and ensure that all your days are occupied, and bringing more revenue at the end of the day, right? So that's our objective. So recently, if you haven't done that, Alex, today, I think there's going to be a new newsletter sent out very. But you probably have noticed, for those of you that are customer Hostaway, that now you have on the reviews module and on the host quality dashboard as well, something called AI Reviews Insights. AI Reviews Insights, yes. And basically, this is our first MVP of a larger project that we have in making sure that you guys do not miss the beat on what makes a good listing and you get the best reviews possible on the channels. Not only on Airbnb, because I know in some other places they're only focusing on Airbnb, but at Hostaway we want to make sure that you guys are successful in every channel. So it actually is reading all of the reviews that you get from all the channels, and it will provide recommendations at one click, basically. So you click on one of the prompts that we give you to make a question to the AI, and it will come back analyzing all of the reviews with a set of recommendations to make sure that you can action them and get those nice reviews, right? Good reviews at the end of the day translate into bookings, which again, very much related to the revenue. And also it's great for you to understand if you are providing a good guest experience, of course. I'll stop here. Maybe Michael, you want something to add here?
Yeah. Hey, Alex, can we go to the next slide? So, just a quick introduction. Again, Michael Chang. I've actually been a Hostaway customer since October of 2019. So I've been around the platform for a very long time, and and a lot of you guys are here using Hostaway or looking at using Hostaway. It's been a tremendous growth in my personal business. My wife and I started this business while we were both working full-time jobs, and a big part of it was the technology part. It was so hard to manage until we found a tool like Hostaway, and it enabled us to scale our business now to almost 40 properties. And more importantly, operate as a business. Like, we're not in there every single day dealing with the messages and the reviews. We've hired a team overseas that does this, and Hostaway is a key component to be able to manage all these properties remotely. Here in New York City, our properties are in Pennsylvania and Tennessee, which are between 2 and 12 hours away, so we can't be there. So really rely on technology to help us communicate with our team and our overseas staff that's based in Asia, based in Europe, that they're able to respond to guests properly, promptly, and be able to get the reviews and get the revenue associated with that. So just kind of to lay the groundwork a little bit. So how we utilize AI in our business and how we utilize it within Hostaway. As Maria has mentioned, like we utilize a lot of the tools internally that Hostaway provides, but we've also kind of utilized other tools that are available within the marketplace function. And this slide here specifically that we talked through, the AI chatbot we use is partner within Hostaway, and it handles 90% of our messages now. It's been really a game changer in how we are able to respond to guests, accurately, promptly, especially when we don't have anyone on staff working, between midnight and 8 a.m. Usually before, those messages would just kind of sit there for 8 hours, and now they actually get responded to. And the quality of the messages are a lot higher. They're actually better than what my virtual assistants were able to do, because they didn't have the right context. They're based overseas. They don't know what's going on in Philadelphia. But with AI, it's actually able to pull in Google Maps directions and all that context. And so, if you aren't using AI, you guys aren't using AI chatbot, I highly recommend using something like this. And I'm sure Hostaway has something that's available, and also some of their partners within the marketplace function. And folks, if you want these slides, I'll just put it into the chat here. You can grab the slides if and when you want. We also utilize ChatGPT. Now, obviously, everyone is very familiar with this tool, I hope. I would recommend using the Plus, upgrading to the Plus or the Plus version, the $20 a month version. It's a really cool, it's a really key tool in our customer service, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And then we also utilize a tool called Notebook LLM, which is from Google. It's a free tool, and we utilize it as an internal Wikipedia. So these are just some of the tools that we utilize AI for within our business. It's really generated a lot of ROI for us. So I've been really excited to utilize that within the Hostaway platform, and happy to talk more about it. Alex, if that's appropriate right now. The next slide. Okay, so how we utilize it to drive efficiency and revenue. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those three tools and how we actually use that. So reduce headcount. We don't have to hire as many people now as we grow our business. Now, when we did the audit, my customer service staff was spending over 50% of their time answering messages. Now it's 10%. One important nuance here that I want people to understand is you want to incentivize your team to utilize AI. Most people are actually scared to use AI because they're afraid of their job security. Okay, well, I have this chatbot now, maybe they're just going to lay me off. So we're actually really, we really tell them that, hey, there's no HR actions will happen. We just want you to actually utilize your time more effectively and not just answering messages that an AI bot can send out. So, reduce headcount. We don't have to hire as many people as we grow the business. Higher productivity I talked about. We're just able to, utilize the tools. Utilize the time that was previously spent answering messages on other parts of the business, like responding to reviews, looking at analyzing the reviews, figuring out what the maintenance problems are, and we actually solve those problems with our vendors. Spend a lot more time with our underground team, with our vendors, to actually solve real physical problems that can't be delivered electronically. And that kind of talks about the reduced R&M and CapEx. We're actually a lot smarter now on how we handle maintenance requests. A lot of people here, if you operate your short-term rentals, R&M is a big component to that. Alex, I don't know if you go to the next slide real quick to show them real quick.
I don't think maybe that comes later. Yeah, we don't.
Okay, so and then the other point I'll just bring in is the revenue part. With all these tools, you're able to get better reviews because you're able to really focus on the messages that actually really need a human response. So instead of kind of sending a message where the Wi-Fi is, AI can do that. But where there's a real problem, my staff can actually really focus their time and solve that problem properly for the guests, so that that 3-star review might become a 5-star review, right? Because they're actually able to spend time on it, and then we're able to just respond to other messages much more quickly. Versus before, even if it was a simple message, say my staff was working on something more complex, they didn't have time to answer that. Now that kind of less complex message gets responded much more quickly versus going through someone's sequential workflow. So there's things like that actually have really been very, very helpful in helping us drive efficiency, helping us drive revenue. So we're able to maintain the 30+% cash flow margins, and it allows us to continue to reinvest in our business and not go back to our 9-to-5 jobs. So with that, I'll kind of pause there.
Thanks so much, team. Those are really inclusive answers. Can we get to the next question, please? Which AI-driven innovations do you think will redefine the short-term rental landscape over the next 2 to 3 years? On the Hostaway side, Marcus or Maria?
So I think that's on the Hostaway side, Michael actually is touching a very good point, right? So on what he mentioned about the reducing the headcounts, and basically higher productivity, etc. I don't think that in here what the innovation is going to be about is how is the AI able to capture everything that it needs to basically function more or less automatically or autonomously, not automatically, but more or less autonomously, right? So I think that the innovation may not be on the side of, you will see kind of on the interface can be very, very lean in a way, right? So it would be in what happens on the background and how the data is treated and how we are able to actually collect all that information to make sure that we are able to produce the desired outcome, right? Which is going to be configurable per customer as well. So this is something that's for us is a pillar in our AI strategy. So basically, we want to make sure that our existing guest experience AI one day will become as autonomous as possible. So this can our North Star, our vision for how do we want to build this. In terms of innovations, also a little bit related to trends as well, is basically how will you interact with the AI in many different ways, and what type of outputs the AI will provide. It's called the multimodal, right? So it's going to be through text, it's going to be through voice interfaces as well, it's going to be using videos, etc., and many other different things, I'm sure. We're hearing more and more about this. So I think that in that space you will probably see a few developments there as well.
I think the biggest innovations, we're still taking baby steps in the short-term rental space. I have no idea why. Pretty much all of the money in this industry is coming from the traveler, and there hasn't been anything happening yet. Imagine how the short-term rental space has changed because of social media. Not only you advertising the properties, but the fact that there's demand for certain regions or certain areas that are completely different just because of social media trends. The same will happen with AI. The way people look for properties and find your properties will change dramatically over the coming years. But so far, not a single OTA has brought out any tools for this. And it's very hard for someone else to get, 1 million travelers every day to your website. That's a pretty expensive project, even if you have the tools available. But just think about this, I'll give you an example. When I plan travel, I usually choose a location, and then I ask ChatGPT, okay, give me some children's activities in Rome, for example. But it's starting to change. I'm starting to think, what about if I want the greatest child activities, and I also want the beach, and I also want a place that's known for good food? What would be a good location? And suddenly ChatGPT comes up with just incredible answers that I never would have thought of. And when I research deeper, it turns out, yeah, it's right. So these are the things that will really change the short-term rental landscape, basically on the consumer side, how people book their trips. And there's very little we can do until we know what that looks like. But then we need to be ready to act, because it could be that people not only travel to different locations, but they travel for different reasons, and they might have different expectations for those locations as well. And that has a direct impact on the reviews of the hosts.
I think that definitely that. I think that's it's going to be called hyper personalization, right? So the ability for the AI to understand what the guest wants, and be able to respond to that with recommendations already, with in different places, not only on a guest communication tool, but also maybe on your direct sales website, on different places. So be able to understand before actually, even the guest thinks about it somehow.
But just to add, just from a host side, what I'm really, or just from an operational efficiency side, what I'm really most excited for is, I think Marie mentioned like multimodal. Like right now, everything is really text based. What would be, and I think the natural evolution of customer service agents, or AI and customer service agents, is really be able to actually pick up the phone, and instead of writing the message, actually, if someone picks up the phone, actually be able to talk to them, and address that. I feel like that's a natural next step, and that would really open up the aperture to a lot of, from a host perspective, a lot of efficiency gains on our side. And then to build on top of that, once an AI is able to really access the wealth of information that's within Hostaway and within whatever project management platform that you're using, whether it's a task function within Hostaway. We use Asana personally, other people use money.com, whatever kind of task management platform. If you're able to kind of, put all these together into an MCP or, whatever kind of format we're going to put that in, and be able to actually draw the information from different parts of all the different software platforms that we're all using, and be able to deliver, service to the guests, to be able to manage like maintenance, to be able to even go on and, if you need to order something for Amazon, for example, if you're based in the US, you need to order supplies, like it comes in through your chat platform of choice, your Slack, your WhatsApp, and then it just, it can actually just kind of know what to do and order it and update your team, update the task management, and update all the systems within Hostaway that qualify for that. So that handle these workflows. Like that's what I'm really excited about. I see a lot of people working on different solutions that can do that, and it really the PMS really is the nexus of everything, because it handles. It's a first point of contact between everyone. So it just seems like the natural point of, where all this stuff comes together. So I'm hopeful to see, some of this innovation kind of go through the next few years, and really excited to see what comes about.
Love it. Thank you all for the answers. We'll go to the next question. How can smaller property managers take advantage of AI without large budgets or tech teams? Let's start again on the Hostaway side.
Yeah, I can. If you haven't started using AI, just pick up ChatGPT or any similar tool. They can pretty much do the same thing. I just took one of my properties, and I gave it to ChatGPT and asked, what should we improve here to get more bookings? And ChatGPT wasn't able to help there. I gave him the Airbnb URL. Well, it's not a person really. I gave ChatGPT the URL, and it couldn't access it, but it gave some generic information that wasn't that useful. So I just took a screenshot of the Airbnb listing and said, hey, check out this description. What could be improved? And suddenly it found a bunch of stuff. I read the description. I think it's perfect, but realizes suddenly that from a guest who's about to book a place, it looks completely alien. So it really is that simple. Once you figure out and get into a habit of doing it, you'll find yourself doing that in more and more advanced areas of your business. But you got to get started somewhere, because if you don't, your competition is going to do it. And that is not good for business.
Yeah, I think also definitely start with ChatGPT is probably the model that it's easiest to use as well, and available to everyone. If you can invest some money on that as well, you can utilize the more advanced versions of ChatGPT, for instance 4.5, which I don't think is fully public. If you have a team account or enterprise account, which is not overly expensive, and actually is one of the things about models as well, that prices are dropping, right? So they're becoming rather becoming more and more or less and less expensive, which basically is driving the adoption not only by the end user, but also by many companies as well, many businesses. So if you basically, long story short, if you have invest some money on these models on ChatGPT 4.5, for instance, the model is more emotionally intelligent than others, so it can actually provide better responses, more human-like responses if you want. If you're using Hostaway as well, you can use our chatbots, and you can basically select all the configuration on the tone as well, and many other configurations. You can tweak it to answer in your language, basically. But other models out there that you can use, for instance, Perplexity. I was trying Perplexity the other day to provide me some recommendations on some rather important tasks for me. I wanted to buy a property, and I asked Perplexity, what should I do? And I was amazed at the response from Perplexity. It actually provided excellent recommendations for me, and with giving it not a lot of background as well. So try them out. I think that ChatGPT definitely is the one to go for. Rather inexpensive, I would say, and also for the basic of writing listing descriptions, maybe dumping some data on it for reviews as well. You already have that on Hostaway, so you don't have to do it on ChatGPT. But if you don't use Hostaway, you can use ChatGPT to do that. Dump data, use it to categorize it. There's a little bit of tweaking that you have to do with the prompt, so I would recommend also to experiment with prompts and things until you get the right way. But you cannot not use AI anymore. I don't think so. I think that's everyone is using it. And actually, one important thing to understand is that we are past now the point of the initial kind of awe or amazement at the static outputs that the AI models and bots used to produce, right? So the next step is going to be more on the side of being able to create do actions for you, and what we just spoken about, be multimodal, voice interface, etc. So the sooner you start learning about these things, the sooner you start adopting these things, the better you're going to be, and the more competitive you're going to be.
So what I'm hearing across the board, at least on the Hostaway side, is get an LLM. ChatGPT seems to be the leader right now. It's a constant race between Gemini, Perplexity, Claude. Find the one that works for you best. And generally, the paid service among free is a good investment and won't break the bank in terms of, ChatGPT Plus is $20 a month. And that extra leverage really goes a long way. Yeah, Michael, like I said, I think you do have some fun examples. We can tee it up.
Yeah. I highly recommend. So we use the regular ChatGPT. I highly recommend. It's the best $20 you ever spend is upgrade to the ChatGPT Plus. Especially if you utilize it for your short-term rental business. It learns as well. You can kind of tune it now a little bit more to your needs. So I highly recommend you use it. And we actually have a workflow with our property management, within our company. We have 7 virtual assistants that run the business effectively. But basically, we have a rule that says you can't ask a question to the group until you've ChatGPT'd it, and you have to send. When you ChatGPT something, you can share the link, and you have to share the link with your question. So and it's been a really game changer. It's a real game changer for us. So Hassan, I don't know if you can share the 2 examples. Like, all of us have kind of gone through this. You get a photo of the dishwasher, and your guest says, "I don't know how to turn it on," and then your team has to troubleshoot it. So I didn't copy everything, but literally, we put this picture on there and we said, "How do you turn on this dishwasher? How do you turn on this dishwasher?" It doesn't do anything. So if you haven't used it before, the ChatGPT will actually tell you the model, right? And then so it has access to the manual, and it'll tell you exactly the troubleshooting step by step, exactly what you need to do. Kind of in Marie's example, there would be great if it actually had a voice function. And it can actually just go and call the guest and walk them through, like, "Hey, did you turn it on? Is it fully closed? Did it, is the control lock on?" Like these things, it'd be great. That'd be the next step. But this is something that we use, and it seems like a small thing, and it's actually more of a workflow process optimization, I think, than a technology optimization process, because it's just pretty simple to upload a photo and ask ChatGPT this, 2 sentences. So if you have a outsourced team, just make sure they utilize this. It makes them actually much smarter. You don't annoy your team with the same questions over and over again. And they actually just provide a higher level of service to your client. So this is, again, that kind of like the 50% that they were using just answering basic messages. Now that actually spend the time, go on GPT, ask the right questions, call the guests, actually walk them through it within, 20 minutes of getting within 5 to 10 minutes of getting the actual message on Airbnb or whatever it is, right? They can actually call them, walk them through everything, and then actually really smart about it versus say, figuring out what the model number is, going on Google and trying to find the manual and kind of going through all that. It's all here. It's all free, or $20 a month. This is the highest ROI. If you aren't using this, you got to use this. So for the chatbot tool, there's a bunch of questions within the, happy to answer any questions on that, but we utilize it for our entire portfolio. And we have A lot of our friends in industry, after we used it and recommended it, they're using it too. So whatever AI chatbot software you end up using, just use something because it's better than nothing. That's my only takeaway. And this is something I'm actually dealing with today. On the left picture, it's just a screenshot from my cleaner. This is, so the left side is the condition of my posts in one of my cabins in Tennessee. Not super great. You can see a lot of erosion, and a post shouldn't be leaning like that, so it's not fantastic. So before we would have had to like guess about how to fix it effectively. And again, this is from ChatGPT. We uploaded the photo and just asked it to analyze what's wrong with it and give us some recommendations on how to fix it. And then after we had people go and review it, could actually take all the conversation we had with them, right? They talk with us on, and then we were able to download the transcript and put everything into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, hey, based on what this person said, does this actually make sense? Can you actually visualize it for me? So this is a solution we actually end up going with. What the vendor is currently doing now is actually going to do something like this. We would never be able to visualize it. We would never actually be able to give them feedback on like how, like, because we're not contractors. We don't know. But to be able to actually visualize it, send it back to them, be like, hey, is this actually what you're going to do? Be able to ask intelligent questions, right? A virtual assistant based in the Philippines, right? They don't know anything about DEX. I don't know anything about DEX. Alex has lived in a condo for 15 years. He doesn't know anything about DEX. I can't ask him, right? But you can ask ChatGPT, you get a real expert answer on how to actually fix something. This is a $3,000 fix. I definitely want to get this right because I don't want to. I made a mistake 2 years ago and had someone do a monkey job, and then now 2 years later I have to pay for it again. I didn't have ChatGPT then. I have it now. I'm not going to make the same mistake. I hope you guys listening today don't make the same mistake I did, and utilize GPT to its full advantages. So I'll pause there, Alex.
Super cool. Just take a picture of your problem. ChatGPT can figure it out, even as something as important as stabilizing your entire property. What are some potential risks or ethical concerns around integrating AI into hospitality? So we talked about all the great things that it can do. What are some of the risks with using it that we should be considerate of?
One risk that people should be aware of is obviously the security. It's quite easy to get any machine learning to give crazy answers or crazy statements, but just imagine when they start handing out the code to your owner locker to the guests. That's that's what we have looking forward to. Another thing is the guests, they know how to use ChatGPT as well, and some of us have been unlucky and had guests who have tried to trick the system, but asking a machine learning model about how to get to stay free, how to get a discount or refund. Yeah, that's something that many guests are going to be using in the future or are already using now. So could be good for you to train yourself. Tell ChatGPT you're staying in an Airbnb and you're really unhappy, the host isn't responsive. How do you get a refund? And see what comes out of it.
Yeah, the same here, basically, right? So making sure that it's there are, this is kind of systematic approach of the risk assessment, and probably that's on our end as well as a company provider of AI for our customers, right? It's very important for us. Security is also embedded in everything that we bring at Hostaway and every feature that we put out there in any product, right? So continuous assessments, trying to find mitigation on hallucinations, on evaluation, putting guardrails as well. There's something very well known in anyone that is working with AI, which is called the golden data set, right? This is basically a piece of data that you use as a guardrail against the answers that the AI models provide. So that's something that we utilize as well to in the improvements that we do to our AI as well. And obviously, well, on ethical considerations, well, understanding a little bit, making sure that the models are not biased. They are not biased against obviously race or anything on that regard. They're fair, that they maintain basically they perform kind of a similar level of answering outputs that they would do otherwise. So that's basically a lot on the risk management and on the ethical considerations that we at Hostaway are putting a lot of effort on.
Just quickly on the host side, the risk of the hallucinations. If you're not monitoring it and it says something silly that you would never said, the guest still thinks you said it, and then you have to figure that out. So that's something we're really aware, we're very mindful of, and want to be careful as we further utilize AI tools within our business, that it doesn't say something that can get us in trouble or that's just not appropriate. So that's something that we definitely hope that the software providers understand, and everyone knows that, and to mitigate that outcome.
How is Hostaway currently using AI to support property managers and hosts? So this is pretty much directly just for Marie and Marcus, but Michael, I know you're using it as well.
Yeah, so today we have new features on the AI side. Basically, on the guest communication, we have the answer bot suggestion, also all of the automations that they use AI to make sure that your message are delivered at the right time and to the right recipients. There is AI on the content generation for the listings. So we use AI or you can use AI to write the descriptions of your listings as well. We're using AI also to translate for the descriptions and the content listings for the booking engine as well. And now we support around, I think it's 6 different languages today for those of you actually that have international guests. This is called dynamic pricing. Again, was the AI that we use in the guest communication is or LLM type of AI. The dynamic pricing is machine learning, and as you know, it provides recommendations on pricing. And this is a very given in the industry. Just recently, I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, we also released a AI reviews insight bot that will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to make sure that you get good reviews and to basically take action on those areas that you need to improve. It's very easy to use. It only takes one click, and the bot does everything. It provides a full report on the listings, on particular listings as well. You can ask the bot which listing in particular needs improvements as well. So it's very detailed. Today, also in general, on our automations use some type of AI as well to make sure that in the task section that the jobs are assigned to the correct cleaner, etc. So there's a lot that we're doing in the products. More than is coming, and I don't know if I should wait to the next question, or maybe Marcus also want to answer here.
But just to add here, I also really appreciate Hostaway has the marketplace that has other providers to come in and tap into your system. It's hard for everyone to do everything perfectly. So the fact that you guys have a marketplace that allows other software providers to connect you guys is great. The AI chat software that I use now, actually not connected with them at all. I utilized a couple of them and I didn't like them, and then actually met the current provider at the Hostaway user conference in Miami last year in October, right? And they had a booth there, and I met them, and and it's really improved my business. So it's a great conference. If anyone is planning on going, it'd be great to meet you guys there, hopefully. But that's how I kind of found. That's how Hostaway has supported me, or supported AI for me personally. Not exactly kind of on platform, but through your user conference and through the open architecture that you guys have. So it's been great for us. And that's why been with you guys for 6 years now.
The next question is related, but what's coming in the future for AI at Hostaway? Maria, if you can give us a little bit of a sneak peek of what's on your mind and coming down the road.
Yeah, on the near future, we're looking at guest communication translation through AI for hosts and guests. So being able to respond on your language and have it translated to the guest, so the AI translates it for you. and the other way around, right? So the guest communicates to you in their language, and the AI will translate it onto yours. We're also looking at something that we're excited about, which is kind of it's an assistant, obviously, within Hostaway, but it's an assistant. You can ask anything about Hostaway and how to work with Hostaway. And they can give you some ideas as well on, for instance, on financials, on how to set up your formulas, what is the best way to set up your formulas, on statements, etc. All about, um, you can ask him everything, basically. In our mind is you can ask anything and it will be able to answer to you. So we are trying out some proofs of concept there, and hopefully we will have a version for our customers very soon. Still, this is for the near future, for the short term. Still, for the long term, we are definitely looking at the guest communication and how we can improve the current AI that we have in the product, in the sense that we've been talking in this webinar, right? So how to make it more autonomous, how to this AI will be able to do things for you, and how it will be able to allow you to get your hands off with all those repetitive things, in particular, repetitive questions. Or like every time I talk to a customer, they tell me, 80% of my time or 80% of my questions are always the same, right? Something that I heard or I told them in multiple places, in communication, in emails. On some people actually put announcements in the listing, and people still don't read them, right? So it's that kind of thing that AI is really good at, and that's how we're gonna go and achieve as much autonomous AI as possible.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time, I think maybe we'll skip the last one and just go straight to the Q&A.
I can start by answering Barbara's question there in the chat, because she brings up something very important. She asked, how can you protect the chatbot from the response if they say something that can be illegal or affect your business? I mean, if the guest says it's smelling gas, it's quite an easy conclusion to draw that maybe you should just light a match to see if it burns. And that's something that, could happen. And this is why there isn't really any protection against that right now, unfortunately. And this is also one of the major reasons why we although we were the first ones to launch the automated responses, we didn't want to automate it, because these things are going to happen. It's just a matter of time or publicity. And something to keep in mind, there's a lot of innovation going on in the AI space right now, because there's a lot of VC capital there. I'm sure you all can remember the time when Uber or Amazon used to be cheap or cheaper than the alternatives. That's because it was backed by VC capital and you could get access to that. So now is a good time to take your photos and find an app that will edit 10 of them to look better. Do that now, because in 5 years, you're going to be paying a lot of money for that. We, as the market leader in vacation rental software, we simply don't have the luxury of making mistakes. So that's why we make sure that we test every single functionality that we put out, especially AR related. And that unfortunately means that some functionality will come later than others. But the upside is, I think you'll see fewer dead guests and fewer burnt down houses.
For the next question, just rolling through these here. Maria asked, how does AI help solve maintenance problems? Can you please talk more about that, as I have to learn about maintenance issues and call a handyman, etc. Michael, I feel like your examples hit that really well. Do you have any tips for Maria?
Yeah, just to reiterate what I was saying before, I think one is just getting the answer and then having a time to get the answer. So utilize a tool that can clear out what Maria was saying, 80% of the questions are all exactly the same. So whatever tool you decide to use something that can automate that, whether it's a VA that you hire from overseas, it's a software solution, it's a combination of two. Do something, because that just chews up all your time and burns all your mental energy, right? Because you just deal with the same stuff all the time. And then use ChatGPT, right? Get upgrade to Plus, because you'll get better answers and faster answers, and do exactly what I just did, right? Like, have a picture, ask it a question, and then just continue to, if you don't know something, ask it to clarify or give you more examples. You'll be surprised at how powerful it is. And, the final question actually was supposed to be like, what was our advice to hosts? And my advice is like, just try it. Like, I think there's this fear of people utilizing these tools. They, like your house might burn down in Marcus' example, right? Let's hope it doesn't. And, it doesn't tell you to light a match, but like, you got to try the tool. And then once you use it, you'll see how powerful it is and how it can really integrate within your workflows in your business. It's been really, the last year that I've been using it, it's been extremely powerful and transformational for our business personally.
So Kevin asks, does Hostaway have agentic AI on the horizon? For example, I typed to Hostaway, San Francisco just added 10% TOT tax for all bookings under 30 nights. Adjust all SF properties accordingly.
So I mentioned at the beginning, and if I may take this answer here, I mentioned at the beginning, I think we're past the amazement of AI generating static outputs based on some prompts, right? So I think that's the everyday stuff now. Now the next thing, and it's the AI doing things for you. I think that's what everybody knows right now as agentic AI. And yes, that's on our horizon, and that's definitely something that we are looking at very closely. And I don't know if I mentioned, but we actually have a team on an AI team dedicated now to deliver and accelerate our path on AI. So we are looking in that direction for sure.
I can maybe answer here also Pascal's questions about if we have any plans to point out where the listings are not compliant with the ever-changing policies that Airbnb and other OTAs have that may change every few months. I don't think we have that, because in communication with these OTAs, they have a lot of policies, and a lot of them are put on them by different municipalities, and they are usually, when they find out they're doing something wrong, that they're usually the last ones to find out, and that's why they sometimes have to make harsh judgments there on what to do next, how to avoid a fine. However, we are looking internally within our customer success team, and I can also answer here Cliff's question on how to get started with AI. You can email customersuccess@hostaway.com. We'll be happy to get on a call with you. But we are constantly looking for ways to improve our customers' business. So, for example, an ongoing challenge that we have is that a lot of property managers don't advertise the amenities that they have. On different channels, you can advertise them in different ways. Do you have a hot tub? Do you have an ocean view? Do you have anything nice in your home? I'm sure you do, but you need to actually click that checkbox. But quite often, those things can be found in the description. So we're looking also internally to see how can we help property managers make more money so that you don't actually have to use any tools at all. We'll just use them here at Hostaway. So great question, Pascal.
Maria, there was a question, I think, just for a follow-up on a stat you shared on the conversion of people using our reply AI with 70% conversion. Do you mind just double-click what that means?
Yes. So what it means is that on the funnel, when you go into the inbox and you receive a guest message, you can click on suggest a reply. Right? Suggest a reply provides basically a suggestion of an answer to that particular guest inquiry. And what we're seeing is that 75% of the customers that went to suggest me something actually use that response finally, right? So they actually send the response suggested by the bot, which speaks of the accuracy of the bot, right? So what's the answer that provides is good, and of course there's another 35% or 30% that we can improve on that end. So yeah, that's what it meant.
Two very sorry for taking here, just since we're a bit low on time, but two very specific product related questions. First one is, when a property is cleaned, do we have an automation to send a message to the guest? I believe we do. Yes. So the cleaners just need to mark the property as clean in Hostaway, and then we can send an automation to the guest. The other question was, can our chatbot or any other out there use WhatsApp and Hostaway?
Yeah, so you saw the question at the beginning. So it's channel agnostic. right? So our unified inbox supports SMS and WhatsApp, and more of WhatsApp's coming in the near future as well. The bot replies to any conversation coming through any channel, right? So it takes the conversation and provides a response. So the response that you send will be sent on the channel selected. So whether it is WhatsApp or whether it is SMS with the caveat that it's a maximum of characters that you have there. But yeah, it's basically channel agnostic in that regard.
I think just tying it back to what we're talking about with risks and hallucinations, and what was Maria said earlier, just to emphasize, we are, I think, moving really quickly in the AI space, but it's still in the co-pilot phase in that you don't trust it to answer every question for you. You still want to review these first, because the risk of having the wrong answer actually provided could really be devastating for your business in terms of like the legal actions that were mentioned earlier. So we might get there soon, but for now, I would be distrustful of anyone who offers a chatbot or AI service that you could truly answer 100% risk-free. We still just want to use these as a co-pilot. Okay, I think that wraps up all the questions today, and we're just about time. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thanks, Maria, Michael, and Marcus for their expertise. Any closing thoughts before we head out?
Exciting times ahead, and please join us in Austin for Hostgella. I believe we're still waiting for an answer on if there's any discount codes left, but Cliff will reach out if we find any.
And everyone, thank you very much for joining today. I'm Marcus, Maria, Alex. Thank you for the opportunity to present kind of what we do here at TrustBNB to the broader audience. So I hope everyone uses ChatGPT and some kind of AI tool within your business. And just personally, if anyone's interested in following with me, I'm on Instagram, Michael Chang BNB, and send me a DM. Would love to connect with you. And thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.